All right, guys, what we're going to be doing is we're going to cover a few different techniques tonight, starting out with our stance. Okay, one thing that's very important in stance is to basically check to where your height is. I want to have my butt down, my knees or my feet just a little bit wider than what my shoulders are, and I want to be able to touch the ground, almost like if I'm playing football. And if I'm sitting a sugar stance here, I want to be blocking my front leg with my hands. So I'm here, I got my head up, looking. What we do with our kids is we make sure that they get into a stance drill. This is probably one of the more important drills because it teaches them good position. Hands out in front, they do their stance checks to make sure that their butt's low enough, and then they can move around the mat. You want them to have a fluid movement, not a solid, stiff movement. So Connor and Cody, go ahead, get in your stance drills, and let's see you moving around the mat. Here, blocking in front of them, checking their stance. They're checking their stance to make sure that they're low enough to the ground the whole time. Okay? So that's our stance drill. Sometimes one of the best things to do is to add this into the first 10 minutes of every practice because it gets the kids in the move. They can move around, stays in good positioning the whole time. That's what you want them to do all the time. First drill that we're going to show tonight, as far as a takedown goes, is our first setup is to a sweep single. Now, whenever we're working it from an inside tie, one thing that we want to do is the setup is probably one of the more important parts that a lot of people miss out in shots. And the way in which we're going to set it up, Connor's going to go ahead and tie up and get an inside tie with Cody. He's got both hooks, so he's got a hook here and a hook here. And if he's going to attack this leg here, what he wants to do is he wants to pull this leg and get this foot stepping close to him. So he pulls him into a circle, gets that foot stepping, and then he takes that inside sweep shot and punches through the back. Cody's coming back here with a whizzer. Once he pops down, now what Connor's going to do is quick steps, clear around. Notice he's got his elbow down. He shelves this foot up onto his hip, limp arms out, and gets his takedown. From a live situation, this takedown looks pretty similar to this. Go ahead and hit it live, Connor. Hits it, boom, gets the elbow down, shelves it, comes back through and gets his 2 points takedown. Notice too, is that as they're going it, they're putting pressure on the guy the whole time. So it's not just get up and let off the guy. We're putting pressure on the guy the whole time that we're getting up off of him. Second takedown, Cody's going to go over this one. This is our basic high crotch. Whenever we're hitting our high crotch, notice the way Cody's already getting into his setup is he's working the head. Another setup, Connor had the step pull to a setup. What Cody's going to do is snap this head, getting reaction from his head snapping down, and when his head pops back up, he's taking that step in. Notice that this foot comes deep in, he's deep in the crotch, and then he comes in, and his hips are tight against this leg. What he's going to do is he's changing it off, switching it to a double. Very important. Look where his hand position is right here. It's above right at the knee, and he's got his ear right on his hip. And then what he's going to do is blast off and take off running. He doesn't finish it from his knees, he finishes it from his feet running. Very important part that a lot of people don't do. If he's hitting it live, it's going to look similar like this. Boom. Takes off running, scores his 2-point takedown. Next move. What happens with a lot of kids is they get in, I call it a Superman stance. Whenever they tie in, they get out. So Connor's going to tie up with Cody, getting like a Superman stance, and he's tying up, and he's got his hands in here. This is a perfect opportunity. You notice Cody's kind of draping over the hands, or he can come up from underneath. What these are is pop-chop doubles. So he's basically taking this small part of the hand, chopping in here, and then he's going to take that and use his doubles. He's putting his face right here, and he's going to hit his double leg coming off that. Once again, he's not going to finish off of his knees. He's going to finish off of his feet. So go ahead, Cody, hit it slow. Boom. He comes in. He takes off running right to his back. Notice that he hit the mat, came back up, and kept running. Go ahead and hit it live, Cody. Boom. Takes off running and scores. Okay. Next one is basic front headlock. Okay. Front headlock. The way that we're going to set this up is we're going to use heavy hands. Heavy hands moving back. So me, by moving back and pulling in here, is going to get him stumbling forward. So Connor, go ahead and tie up with Cody. And as he's pulling him back, watch how Cody's feet start moving into the spot. So he's turning his head like a steering wheel in here. And notice that Connor's knees did not hit the mat. Pressure on him the whole time. And then already, if you look at Connor's hand, it's already coming up here to block this armpit, and we're blocking the elbow here, and that way he can use this shoulder as a pivot point right on his back, keep the pressure on him, and he scores his 2-point takedown. In a live situation, it looks pretty similar to like this. Comes in, heavy hands, snaps, and gets around behind him. Perfect 2-point takedown. Stand up, Cody's down. One thing that we really want to focus on is just our down technique. If I could have you get up here, Connor, real quick. If you look at Cody just from the side over here, the way he's set up is he's basically closing off all of the handles. You know, people look for handles whenever they're wrestling. So Cody's closing off all of these handles so that people can't grab a hold of things. So he's got everything closed off here. He's springy in here, and that way he can back up. He's got his back arched in here and ready to spring out of there. But like I said, he's cutting away all of the handles that he has so that people can't grab onto him. So then as Connor gets on Cody, and as he comes up, boom, he's bringing up his inside leg, and notice what he's got on it. Whenever we talk about hand control on bottom, he's actually got hand control. He's not grabbing the wrist, he's grabbing all 4 of these fingers, and this elbow is blocking in here. That way it stops this hand from coming in, and it keeps this hand locked here, so that way you don't get a guy like reaching around your belly in here. So then as he starts standing up with his other foot, now what Cody's doing, notice he's getting his hips popped out, and he's reaching this hand to get it down. Connor's kind of started to work through to get this hand, so he's still blocking that. And this hand over here, if you look, what he's doing is he's moving it down below his butt here and creating a space. So all of this space is created here, and now all he has to do is wiggle his butt out, boom, get right back into your stance, okay? What it's going to look like live. Boom. Okay. Those were just a few short drills. So we had our stance drill, we hit our sweep singles, we hit our high crotches, double legs, and front head snaps, and then our stand-up. Those are core drills that need to be drilled almost every single practice. And the thing is, we want to emphasize the setups of the move, as well as staying in a good position and staying in a good stance. A lot of times people kind of go through the motions. Another thing, just like if we're going to go through real quick, just so I can show them, if we're hitting like our high crotch drill and we switch off every other one, the thing is we don't want to break in between. We want to, one kid goes and the other kid goes, but we're keeping pressure on them the entire time. So like we're going to hit the high crotch drill and then keep pressure on one another, boom. One kid's there, he's keeping pressure the whole time. Then the other kid goes, boom. Then he comes in, notice how they're pushing each other up the whole time. Then the other one goes. This is called live drilling. So we want to keep that momentum going the entire time so that they don't stop moving the whole time. Constant pressure, constant pressure, constant pressure. Thanks, guys. That's pretty much our core takedowns. Thank you.